2, 1. Silence.
What the fuck?
Welcome to the Required Podcast episode. Did I say it was what, 24? 24.
Are you sure it's 24? Do you want to go check?
I'm gonna sit here and fill space until I figure it out. I am so on top of everything right now. This page is loading. Oh my god! Yes, it's
What do you
24.
mean you don't leave What do you mean you don't leave the Spotify open in a tab all the time? Come on, man.
Spotify?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, but I don't. Yeah, I don't listen to it through Spotify. Well, I do, but like I know I don't have Spotify open for that. Also, I do have Spotify open. How'd you know?
Like I said, I'm fucking psychic, dude. Here's the
I
funny thing is I've listened to every single episode of our
I
podcast on Spotify, and then I've also watched every single episode of the podcast on YouTube because it depends on where I am and how badly I need background noise.
Holy crap! You're more of a fan of yourself than I am.
Well, I don't listen to it for me. I listen to it for Cody being a doofbag and
I know.
Rectify being
I
a
know.
nerd.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
Brandon, by the way.
And I'm Ethan. What's up?
And that's it. We have a short cast.
Yeah.
We're gonna have it's not gonna be near as long as the other casts. We also have a few announcements to make. There'll be a follow-up video and or audio Spotify, but long and short of it, Required Podcast is going to be going on hiatus after today, and we'll probably go through almost the end of January. We're really going to play it by ear, with Ethan being in retail and myself, Brandon, being in the mail service. Holidays are going to kick our ass.
Yes.
So instead of horrifically trying to piece together a schedule every so often to record, we're just not going to record at all. So now, yeah. Well, we're not ending the show entirely. It was just again hiatus. Schedules are crazy. Yeah. So thanks for the support so far. Let's come back in a few months.
Yeah, really the big problem around this time of year for me is, at least personally, is not only am I working customer facing retail, which is fucking exhausting, even just the last few weeks with setup and teardown and all this stuff. I wake up, I go to work, I come home, I'm too exhausted to do anything. My foot hurts to the point where I can't sit at my computer, which is why I've actually raised my computer up and I'm using a stool instead of my computer chair because then I can let my feet hang. But then I'm like, oh my god, I'm in a bad mood or I'm tired or I'm spacey and I don't know what I'm doing, and or I'll just go to bed or I'll watch like YouTube videos until I fall asleep, and then I wake up and I do it all over again. And that's exhausting. But then on top of that, we've got this crafting thing that we're doing. I've got the stream that for God's sake, I try to make, and it bums me out like you would not believe to miss it.
I feel
And
you.
then on top of that, I have my mother lives with us over the holiday season. And
Oh.
it's the only time of the year that I get to see her. So she's always, "Hey, get off the computer and let's go do something," which I'm usually totally fine with, but it's just
When
so the
you
last
work on there, it's kind of hard
Mhm.
to.
Yeah. Well, when so about God, I think this is the third year I've done it and it's worked out really well, where I've just said, "Hey, I'm going to holiday hours," and for my stream, where it's if I can get on at my normal time, I will stream. If I can't for whatever reason, that's just how it's going to be because nobody wants to watch a streamer that's tired and tired, exhausted, crabby, whatever. I mean, and it's no fun to hang out with me when I'm all those things. So I just say, you know what?
Yeah,
It's to
whatever.
be determined day by day. And that's how I kind of see the podcast thing going is if we can, what I figure is if you and I are hanging out, we've got Rectify, he doesn't have anything going, or Chimera, or anybody else that we've had on the podcast so far, anybody new that, you know, we want to invite in. If we're like, hey, we've got an hour, let's just record something and, talk. I have no problem doing that, but I don't need the extra stress of, oh my God, I have to be home by exactly this time because I've got 3 other people waiting on me and da 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 da. And
Right.
it's not that high stress. I mean, this is
Well,
probably one of the most stressless things I do is talking to you, hanging out with everybody and, recording the podcast. But it's nice to have those extra hours of okay, I don't have this responsibility. I'm going to put this on the back burner. It's still there. I still care about it. I'm still thinking about things to bring to the table and things to talk about, but I can continue to take care of myself and focus on the here and now, and it'll still be there when I'm done, you know?
Right. Yeah, the thing with the postal service, last year we were kind of dipping into the 11, 12-hour days in the holidays.
Oof.
And I know for a fact that I'm not going to be able to make it. So instead of making promises that I can't keep and then stressing about it, it's better just to nip it at the bud and just continue. And it's
Mhm.
fine. I mean, taking a hiatus is not a bad thing. I mean, it sounds like it because you're kind of stopping your momentum, but at the same time, it's a good refresher. We got to fight through the holidays, and if people don't understand, then I don't know what to tell you. But
I
anyway,
think there are some people that have never worked retail and they
oh
don't
fuck, dude,
understand like the stress of it, but a good amount of those people can sympathize or at least empathize with kind of what we're going through. Because I don't, here's the thing is I only work 3, 4 days a week at the bookstore. But every 5 minutes, every 3 minutes, every 10 minutes maybe, I'm completely switching gears, like, back and forth and back and forth. And for somebody like me, I love books. I know a lot about a lot of different books, but to switch from, songwriting and sheet music to historical fiction to recent bestsellers to what is this book about to can you help me find this book that I only know the color of the cover of. It's mentally exhausting, and I'm at heart an introvert. I have a very good customer service face, and I have no
I'm the same way.
problem being out. It Yeah, exactly. You know how it is being out in public with friends. You have no problem being, ebullient and outgoing and stuff like that. I have no problem making friends. But fuck, when I get home, I can't even look at a Vendy sometimes. I just have to, like, lock myself in the bedroom and watch true crime or Justice TV for, like, 4 hours just to, like, reset my brain because 'cause I'm so overwhelmed with people and thinking, you know? And then, I've got the stream, which is honestly really relaxing, and so is the podcast, honestly. I mean, this is just as relaxing, but there's the prep work that goes into it and getting all set up and doing the equipment checks and the sound checks and the tech checks. And then once you finally get it started, it's great. But fuck, trying to drag your like I have with traffic the way it is, I maybe get an hour, maybe an hour and a half if it's light, between getting home from work and going live. So that's all of my checks, that's dinner, that's maybe a few minutes of decompression, and it just doesn't work sometimes, it just does not work.
Big ol' yikes. No,
Yeah.
I totally get it, dude. Totally. I worked in retail and all that
Yep.
shit. I'm good. I would rather deliver hundreds of packages every day, work 12 hours and then 9 days straight, than do retail
Yeah.
ever again.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
snow, in the brutal, blistering sun. Fuck yeah, dude. I say that
At least
sarcastically, but I really fucking love my job.
well, yeah, I mean, you've described to me what your day is, throwing on your earbuds and listening to music and just walking and throwing this and that,
Well, the great thing
and that
is,
is awesome.
um, like right now I'm holding down a route, and it's my most absolute favorite route in the station, because the regular is like prepping to be a supervisor, and
Mhm.
he's got to be away for 90 days, and I'm gonna have his route from now until like mid-January, which is perfect. The fact that I locked down a route through Christmas time is unfucking believable, and not only that, but it's my favorite route. So it's like now I'm really getting to know the people, and like literally by name. I have 303 people that I have to
Oh my
memorize.
god.
And that's one thing. That's one tweet that I put out like a couple weeks ago or something. I was like, because when people get mad about us putting the wrong mail in their box, they don't realize that the
Mhm.
CCAs, the assistants, have to
Mhm.
memorize names on just about every route in the station. Well, routes
Wow.
typically have anywhere between 300 to 500 names. And there's like what, 40, 50 routes in our station. So go ahead and do the math. You realize how
Yikes.
that happens every now and then, okay? Like, sorry.
Yeah, no, that I have That I can understand.
But
I mean, holy shit.
the other side of that is really cool where I know this route really well, and you get to a point where you go to the house and you know the people. You've seen the people a
Mhm.
million times. I've gotten to a point where I see their cars driving around the city when I'm out, when I'm not even at work. Tiffany and I will go to the movies, and I'll see like a license plate or something, and I'm like, I know exactly where you live, and I know who you are. Like that blows my mind. It's so weird.
That's a little creepy. That's a
I
little
know, but I
weird,
don't
but
mean to. You drove in front of me. Fuck you. I this accident. I'm sorry. And then like we go home like at the same time every so often, and I'll see the
Mhm.
same cars going home every fucking day. It's
Oh,
so
no.
weird. It's so weird. And hell,
And
I
the
went to the
thing is,
gas
like,
station and
oh,
the guy was
sorry.
like, "Hey, you're my mailman," and I was like, "Oh, really?" Like I'm so phased out when I go to a gas station because there's like so many people. And it's like he's like, "Yeah, I live over at blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh, you're so and so," and he's like, he looks at me like, "Oh shit," like he knows who I am.
Well,
It's
that's
really
why
cool. It's
in
really cool.
our mailboxes we actually have like they put the last names of
Yeah.
everybody who lives
Yep.
here on
That's
that,
actually
so
what
it
I'll
makes
be
it a little easier.
doing tomorrow. I have to redo a whole bunch of those because a bunch of CCAs were on the route before I got on it, and nobody knew any of the
Mhm.
names except for me. But I wasn't on the route, so yeah,
Oopsie poopsie.
I gotta redo all that. I always tell the people
Oh,
because
it's okay.
everyone's like, "Hey, this isn't my mail," and I'm like, "I know, I gotta fix it." And since they know me, they've seen me a lot. I'm the guy with the sweatbands. I got bright pink, green. They can see me a mile away. They know me. It's really cool.
You have personality, you have
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, they're always like, what was it when I first started? They were like, they'd have a problem, and they'd say, "Hey, this is our mail, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Okay, I'll take care of it. I'll get that fixed up in the system for you." And it was like, "That's what all the carriers say," and I was like, "Nope." I was like, "I'll be back tomorrow.
Mhm.
You watch." And I'd bring him whatever he needed and or they needed, and yeah, there's a lot of people on that route now that are like, "Hey, this is the guy that gets shit done." I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm fixing up the
That's
case for the regular and everything, and I can't wait to become a regular. I'm gonna kick so much ass.
well, like, I have regulars at my work too. Apparently, like, it's happened a couple of times so far where, like, apparent I won't be there one day, because I work 3, 4 days a week. I'm not there all 7 days. And people will come in and be like, "Hey, is Ethan working today?"
Hey,
"Oh,
hey,
no, she's not." "Well, when's she working next?" "Oh, she'll be in tomorrow from blah to blah." "Oh, okay, I'll just come back then."
there you
I'm
go.
like,
Damn.
"What the fuck?"
That's
I had a customer,
super customer service right there.
yeah, well, I had a customer who came in. I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday last week. And I had a customer come in on Tuesday. She came in and her tablet, the screen was just destroyed. So obviously she didn't have the extended warranty. So she had to buy a new one, which they're like $50. It's not that big of a deal, but she was wondering what her options were. And I was showing her the other tablets, the other e-readers. Of course I did my whole salesman thing, try, hey, have you thought about this model? Things like that. But we ended up she got the same thing that she had before, and I said, she was just expressing, she seemed like kind of stressed out about the idea of setting it up. So I said, "You know what? I've got my break in like as soon as we're done talking, I'm going to go on my break. I'll be out front on the bench. Just bring it out to me and I'll start setting it up." And she was like, "Are you sure? I mean, I don't want to interrupt your break." And I was like, "I don't care. It's fine. I mean, the only thing I'm going to be doing is listening to true crime podcasts and merging dragons." And she was like, "Oh, okay, okay, okay." Well, I was out there 15 minutes. Nobody came out. So I thought, "Oh, well, maybe she figured it out." And I went back in and we have a bunch of empty tables that we're restocking, or we were restocking that day. And I saw her like starting to put stuff back in her bag. And I was like, "Oh, hey, did you get it figured out?" And she's like, "No, but I didn't want to interrupt you." So I was like, "You know what? Here, come here. Give me the tablet. Let's get this set up." "Oh, well, I don't want to stop you from working." I said, let's do this. I will help you with your tablet. And then if anybody comes up, I'll help them out, I'll get them their books, and as soon as I'm done, if I don't have anything else that's needs my attention, I'll come back over and I'll give you a hand. "Okay, okay, that works." So I did that. And I came back and when I showed her what to do for different things and I got her set up with a different Google account because her old one was just she couldn't remember the password and she never used the email anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So we got her all set up and we set it on Wi-Fi and let it update and all this good stuff. And I went away and I kind of, took care of other customers, came back, and then we went through and we stripped all the unnecessary apps, disabled all the apps she wouldn't use, and the reason she got the tablet is because she also reads Kindle books. And she looked at the screen and she's like, "Oh, does Kindle come pre-installed on here? And Yahoo Mail. I use Yahoo Mail." And I was like, "Yeah, I installed those for you." And she said, she just gave me this look like, "What?
How did you do that?
You
Black
yeah, like
magic.
what?" It was the funniest thing ever. And as I'm giving her instructions on how to like disable this and disable that, she was writing down notes. Well, she came back on Friday because she was having trouble with the keyboard coming up. And of course, as soon as she handed it to me, it worked just fine. But I walked her through how to uninstall and reinstall it, and I did it for her just in case it happens again. And if it does, this is how you switch your keyboard and da da da. And there was a woman standing behind her as I was helping her, and I said, "You know, Barb, give me just 1 second." I said, "Can I help you with anything?" She's like, "No, no, no, I'm fine. Are you sure?" "Yeah, yeah, that's my mom." And this lady turns around, looks at her, and says, "This is the woman I was telling you about, the one that helped me set this up. This is the one I was telling you about." And I was like, "Oh my God." It was kind of embarrassing, but it was also one of those moments. It's like, this woman is so
That's me,
happy.
motherfucker. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I'm gonna hold on to this moment, and there was one other thing that happened, but I'm not gonna tell it right now because 'cause I've been talking for a while. And I'm gonna hold on to this moment during the holiday season, so I remember that there are good people out there. There are people that like me, that I like them, where their faith in humanity, if I ever have a worry, this is the moment I'm gonna return to so I don't, strangle somebody.
I'm good at customer service. I'm good at customer service. I'm good
Yeah,
at
right? I don't suck, I don't suck, I don't suck, I don't suck.
Yeah, that's the customer service is interesting as a mailman because like I completely zone out because you do the same route over and over and over. You just go purely on autopilot, and
Mhm.
then someone just a random tone will kind of knock you out of it. And it's a person like, "Hey, how's it going?" Blah blah. I'm like, I'm great. I'm good." Blah. Even if I'm having a shit day, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." I'm not gonna
Yep,
tell you I'm having a bad day.
right.
But yeah, I definitely get the retail face.
I do this thing where if it's in the morning and somebody's like, "Hey, how are you?" I'll say, "Oh, the
Coffee.
coffee hasn't quite kicked in yet," but
Coffee.
yep. And that always kind of breaks up that series of call and response that, "Hey, how are you?" "Pretty good. How are you?" "Oh, I'm
Pretty
fine.
good.
Can I help you find anything?" "Nope." "Okay, let me know if you need anything."
Yeah.
Like, that is the
Yep.
conversation that everybody has. Well, if I can break that up, and I'm not lying because the coffee rarely kicks in on time. So it works out, and we can all have we and usually makes them smile,
Oh,
and they'll think of something that they're looking for, and all of a sudden it's like, "Okay, we're off to the races. We can figure this out."
so this is something that I had to get used to for customer service or just
Mhm.
speaking to people on the route. When you're a mail person, you don't usually stop and talk. There are some carriers that do that have been here for like 10 plus years or whatever, but like I'm the kind of carrier that I'm just there to deliver the mail and go and just stay
Uh-huh.
in motion. And or if
Yep.
there are some older couples that I do stop and chat with because they're they just like to talk. They don't have very much else going on.
Mhm.
And there's these times where like you'll be walking to someone like hanging out in their yard or whatever, or cleaning the yard, and they see you, you see them, but you're not exactly close enough to speak yet. So you're kind of working away
Mhm.
there. You got everyone's like lining up for this conversation, and then you go. It's like something like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then you have to say like, "Good, pretty good, you," or whatever.
Mhm.
And then they go blah blah blah. But sometimes I walk so fast that can't happen. So it's come to a point where they go, "Hey, how are you?" And I'm like, "Great." And I mean, it's quick. And the thing is that the
Mhm.
people that do that with me is they understand. So it's
Yep.
because sometimes it's like, I would walk up and I'd go, "Hey, here," like as I hand it to them, I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then they go, "Thank you." And then by the time that they can respond to the first question, I'm already gone. So the
Yep.
conversation is ended. So I had to kind of like teach myself how to have even shorter conversations, and it's
Yep.
working. It's been working, which is totally cool. Now I've just learned like just kind of stay in motion, and you with body language show them that you are moving. Because there's
Yep.
times where if you hesitate towards their direction and with your body face their direction, that shows that you're engaging. And
Yep.
I've just learned, yeah, I'm good, and then just keep in motion, keep going, keep going.
Yep.
Otherwise, you'll
Yeah,
uh, you'll grab one of those old folk that will lock you into conversation, and
oh, yeah.
game over.
See, I'm one of those people where,
Oh, you're one of those people. Okay.
well, I'm one of those people that's like, okay, well, I'm gonna jump in to this conversation. I'm gonna make sure that this person gets what they want, and that throws people off because they don't expect someone to invest in them.
Yeah, and yeah,
And
right. I totally get that, even in the male world.
yeah. And that I'm allowed to do that, like it throws people off because they don't expect us to do that. Because it's more like, "Oh, I've got, I work here, I've got stuff to do, da da da, see you later, bye." But I'm one of those people that I will stop and turn and do that body language that says,
Right.
"Hey, talk to me. What can I get for you?" In fact, I've made up this like series of so to make sure that I don't like sneak up behind someone or when I
Oh my
speak to
God.
them,
that's a
it'll
that's a whole different conversation for me.
oh god. Yeah. Well, like to make it comfortable for them to talk to me and not make them feel like they're trapped because people hate that. So I've got
Oh
this
yeah.
whole thing. There was one woman who was browsing in the sci-fi fantasy section and her back was to me. So I actually walked around through the romance section to approach her from the front and be like, "Hey, can I help you find anything?" And she did this thing where she shook her head and she held her hand up, and shook her hand. And I was like, "Okay, that's a sign of somebody who doesn't want me near them." So I was like, "Okay, just let me know if you need anything." I turned around, I walked away because I don't want to invade someone's personal space if they're very clearly not down with that.
Right.
And I've noticed a couple of other older booksellers who don't work there anymore, not older like age, but older like they worked there before and they don't anymore, that they wouldn't get those like those body cues or anything. And they would just walk right up. And all of a sudden, you've got somebody who's uncomfortable. And more than once, I've had these people that I've, just backed off from and said, "Hey, just let me know." They've come up to me later at their own pace, at their own distance, and I'm totally fine with that. It lets them know, "Hey, I'm here in case you need me." But there's so much fucking nuance, and that calls back to that whole like, "Oh my god, I'm fucking exhausted" thing because there's so much to think about. Ugh, blah.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you heard me.
Oh yeah. um,
You
the
get
one
me.
thing, about the really cool thing about being a male person is
Mhm.
you hold. Okay, so here's the thing: when people see me, they go like, "Oh, do you remember me?" Blah blah blah. Trust me, your mail carrier remembers everything that they see on the route. If they see you walk into a house, they go, "That person lives there." Okay, I know that
Yeah.
now. Or they at least visit, or anyway. So if I see any of my, I swear to God, if I see any of these people shopping in a grocery store, I'd be like, I know you. I know, I've seen you. Because you just memorize them. You memorize their name and you memorize their face so well,
Uh-huh.
day to day. And so there was this time where I've done this a couple times now. There was I was holding down a route before the one I have now. I was holding it down for like 2 months, and
Mhm.
it's my second favorite route. So I'm just striking it lucky. Anyway, there was an ambulance outside this house, and I was like,
Uh-oh.
"Oh, this is an older gentleman. He's a Vietnam vet, and he's like super nice. I talked to him like twice, and like talked to him as in like I've actually stood on his porch with him and just BS'd with him, just whatever.
Yeah.
And I didn't see him for like a week. Like I could see
Oh
cars
no.
going in and out, but and I saw him out in his lawn like almost a month later, and I'm like, and the thing is that we keep conversations going,
Mhm.
because basically it's like sending a text message and then getting a text back like a week later.
Yep.
And I was like, hey,
Yep.
I was like, I saw an ambulance out like a couple weeks ago. I was like, is everything cool? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, that's actually for the neighbor. I guess the ambulance was parked in a weird spot, but it was actually for his neighbor next to him, which has a
Oh.
bedridden woman in there, and the son takes care of her. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, it kind of scared me because I was like, I actually talked to you a couple weeks ago, and I just didn't know if something had happened. And he's like, no, we're good. Oh, I appreciate the thought and all that. And, he's like, no. And he explained what was going on. And I was like, oh, okay. Whew. Well, have a good day. um, there,
Jesus.
there was a time, this kind of brings up another memory. I was doing a route that I'm not super familiar with, but it's not a difficult route by any means. And
Mhm.
I went to go deliver to this house, and there was like two white vans that didn't look like ordinary vans. They had like a spotlight on top of them, or like kind of like police vans, but they weren't labeled
Yeah.
police. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
huh, there's a bunch of mail in the mailbox, and the house kind of smells. I was like, I'm just gonna hold on to the mail. Maybe it's vacant. And I walk down the street and I walk back to my vehicle, kind of thing. Like I walked up the street that way, and then I was walking back. Turns out they were crime scene vans, and I figured out later that the lady died in her house that day, that morning
Oh,
that I
it was
went to go deliver.
day.
Yeah, yeah. I guess something had alerted them, and by the time I walked back down the street, they already had crime scene tape. And man, they opened that front door, and that house smelled so bad.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my goodness. And I told Tiffany, I was like, hey, did you hear anything about any crime scene vans? And then like some cops showed up and detective
Wow.
people walk around with gloves, and I was like, wow, this is nuts. You know, it's really
Well,
interesting.
whenever it's suspicious, they have to go through that. Even
Oh
if
yeah,
it's
yeah,
a natural death or if it's, if it's unexpected or suspicious, they have to go through and do all of that, which kind of sucks for them because I mean, there are some situations. I shouldn't say this being a true crime nerd, but I wish it were easier on first responders, because it's like if you look at someone and they're obviously dead, it's like, hey, just call the cops and call it good, but you have to make sure that,
right.
yeah,
You never know.
I feel bad for them. Yeah, you never know. But god damn it, first responders, if there's a body that's there that's been there a while and it looks kind of suspicious, don't fucking touch anything. You're leaving your goddamn germs and fingerprints all over shit and you're messing things up and then they have to take your fingerprints in your shoes to exclude you. Don't fucking do it.
Yeah,
This has
Tiffany.
been a rant
God
brought to you
damn it.
by True Crime.
Sponsored by True
Tiff-
Crime.
Tiffany would agree with me, I think.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She's been all over that, dude. She's been doing her homework. She's been writing like essays about like crime scene stuff. And it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
I've been proofreading a lot of it. And I was like, dude, let's just send it to Gelf. I'm sure she can. She's an editor. She'll love to
Please?
read it.
Please?
I told her, and she's like, no, I don't want to bother her. And I was like, dude, she will love to
Fuck.
edit and read this. Like, I'm telling you, like this is like your guys' kind of stuff.
Bother me. Fuck, dude. That would be like eating candy for my brain. Tiffany, I know you're listening right now because you're a good listener of our podcast. Send me that shit. Do it now.
I'll start sneaking it. Like right now, she's sleeping. I'll just put it on a flash drive. Send it over via
Or you
actual
could-
mail.
I was
No,
like,
no,
what the
no.
fuck are you doing?
We need no trails.
Says the guy live on a fucking podcast that's trying to be put on like 3 different sites. Hey, right now.
God damn it.
All right, Phil.
Have you
You do you.
taken a sharp left turn? Have you seen the Joker movie yet?
No, I haven't.
God damn it.
Sorry.
Fuck. No, you're good. I just really want to talk about it. It's such a good movie. Anyway,
I wish I had seen it, but because other people have been saying like, "Oh my god, it's so good," but I haven't had time to go see it.
it's
really
so
makes me
good.
sad.
So. Well, I
No.
guess I won't talk about it, but yeah, apparently it's the #1 R-rated movie.
Which is interesting because it's a comic book movie,
Right.
but it's like Batman without Batman, which I talked about this on my stream, but so sorry if I'm revamping it for anybody,
Oh, you're
but
good.
it's unique and from what I've seen, it's wholly unique and wholly standalone, and its presence erases the Jared Leto bullshit.
You have no
From-
idea. It is.
Okay.
Yes. You'll look back at sorry, Jared Leto, if you're a listener on the podcast, but yeah, big yes, hard yes. I would say, I'm not going to say anything about the movie because you haven't seen it, but the biggest thing about the movie is that it's a very big mental game, and it surprisingly relatable in a sense to people who have had depression and anxiety. It is it's one of those movies where Joker is a bad guy later on in his life, and it's surprising that you come to a point where you're rooting for him. You're just like,
Yeah.
go team, and then you realize that you're a bad guy now. But it's very good. It's something that you don't want to miss, I would say.
Mhm.
I can't remember his
And
name. Who plays? I forgot.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, he is so fucking good. I I've never okay. I don't know what he's in. I didn't really look at his like. I have never really. I don't watch
He
a lot of
was the
movies.
emperor. He was the emperor in Gladiator. He
Really,
was in Ladder 47. He was it
I didn't see
47 or
that.
49? Oh god, it's good.
Oh,
It was
that's
made
that
kind of
guy.
yeah,
Oh no, I didn't even recognize him in that movie. Holy
yeah.
fuck, yeah.
Um
He was I remember him in Gladiator 100%.
he's also in
Been in a lot of stuff, just not
okay.
anything super popular.
Oh no, he's been in a lot of shit that's super popular.
I mean,
He was in Gladiator, he was in Buffalo Soldiers,
well,
Ladder
you
49, sorry.
realize
Um
Gladiator came out in 2000. Ladder
yeah,
49
well,
came out in
yeah.
2004.
He was also in The
Walk the
Village.
Line, 2005.
Walk the Line, yep.
Again, not recently
Her,
popular, but
yeah.
2013. It's close.
What else is he in?
Let's
Oh
see.
fuck.
Inherent Vice,
Oh,
Irrational
Walk the
Man.
Line. He was Johnny Cash in Walk the Line.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
that to me is now here's the thing is one of the big reasons why I followed Joaquin Phoenix so closely is because of what happened to his older brother, River Phoenix. Now,
oh,
River
Tiffany told
Phoenix,
me about that.
yeah, River Phoenix, God, what was he in? He was in Stand By Me, I think. Um, his big movies were, or what was the, trying to remember, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He was young Indy. Do you remember that with the train thing where
It has
he's got like his
oof,
well
it's been a long time since I've seen any Indiana Jones.
it's the entire first section. It's he's climbing across this train and he falls into one of the boxcars and it's got a lion in it, so he grabs the whip and he doesn't know how to use it, so he cuts himself across the chin and that's where he gets his scar. And um he retrieves this, steals this like artifact or whatever. And anyway, it's what leads into the whole boat scene where he's like, it belongs in a museum, so do you, and etc.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I watched that and I was so curious who that was because I wanted to see if he'd been in anything else because he looked like a really good Indiana Jones. Found out River Phoenix, when he died in outside the Viper Room under mysterious circumstances, quote unquote, it was more than likely multiple drug intoxication that caused him to die. But um River or Joaquin was only like 19 years old when that happened. And that, like, I was worried. I knew that that had happened. And he was there when his brother died, if I'm not mistaken. And to see him in Gladiator, I was like, oh, I wonder if this is, I wonder if his ability to like play this kind of emotionally distant character draws off of that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of afraid to see what happens after Joker because he's got this trauma in his past. And I want to, I wish I could tell how much of it's acting and how much of it is drawing off of
Right.
personal experience, because from what I understand, it affects him. It affects it, like his
Oh,
brother
I'm
was like
sure.
his idol. But
Yeah,
yeah, that was
yeah.
cool.
It
Well, not cool, like not the death cool,
No,
but
no,
you
no.
know.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like when you watch it, I mean, like I said, it's so well done that like it even played on my own anxiety because it's just like, dude,
Mhm.
I get that. Like it's crazy. Like I wasn't gonna have a panic attack in the fucking theater, but again, there's so much relatable stuff that you could be right.
Mhm.
The one thing that threw me off is I haven't seen him in anything else except for Gladiator, and it's been literally 19 years. And I just
Mhm.
posted pictures in the Discord for audio listeners, but I put a picture of him in Gladiator and him in Joker, and I
He has
sw-
not changed.
what do you mean? I couldn't recognize him at all in Joker. If you were like, if I were sitting in a theater and you're like, by the way,
Uh,
that's the Emperor from Gladiator, I'd be like, are you fucking I just did that this podcast. Like, are you fucking
oh,
kidding me? I didn't know. I legitimately did not know that. I
see, I
didn't.
look at
I
those two
never knew what his
pictures
name was.
and
Like you can
I look at
now that
those
I
two
know it, I
pictures
can
and I
see it.
see, well, yeah, like the same nose, the same lips, the
The
same
yeah
cheeks.
jawline, right? It's
Yeah. Uh,
now that I have been told that, I can see it clear as day. But like, I had no fucking. I was like, who? Joaquin Phoenix. Like, I've never heard that fucking name in my life. Because again, he's not anything that like I've seen really. I don't really care for Johnny Cash. I didn't see that movie. The only movie that I've watched with him in it is Gladiator, and that was when I was young. Which is an awesome movie. It's great, great movie.
I would actually recommend that you see Walk the Line. He is so good in that movie. Like I'm not a big Johnny Cash fan, sorry guys. I like some of his music, but he's not somebody that I listen to like on the reg or anything. But that movie, I don't have to be familiar with Johnny Cash to get the story out of that. It's really really good. Yes, I highly recommend it. But Ladder 49 is one that I
Is that
can't
the
watch
firefighter
often.
movie?
Yeah, yeah, it's a firefighter movie.
I
And it kinda
I'm
broke
probably
my
doing
heart a
it a
bit watching it.
disservice. Yeah, I know it's like apparently I think it's a sad movie if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm respecting enough of saying is that the firefighter movie. I don't know anything about it. That's the only thing I know that it could be about or was about
Mhm.
or anyway.
No, it's essentially it's a firefighter movie that came out, if I'm not mistaken, after 9/11, but I'd
Right,
have to check to be sure.
right. That's what I was thinking as well. Um, Another cool thing, and this is something I shot you a message about. Was it yesterday?
Mhm.
Outer Worlds, dude.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Holy
yeah.
shit! I'm not gonna spoil anything. Not that I could anyway, because I basically I watched a streamer play it yesterday from the beginning to. I watched 5 hours of gameplay, and
Mhm.
there were two games that it reminded me of that I haven't really played much of. It reminded me of obviously Fallout, as everyone knows, and Mass Effect. It looked like a combination of the
Yeah.
two, like the gameplay of Fallout and the character building and fun team play with on Mass Effect. So that was really cool, and like the characters are
Oh.
actually really fleshed out. They don't look like robots when they talk to you. They actually have very vast personalities. It's great. The characters are awesome, and there's tons of dialogue trees where it's like
Mm.
you can be super nice, you can be kind of nice, you can play the middle ground, and you can be an absolute fuckhead. Like literally, it says like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. Like like oh my god. But no, it's great. It's not a game. It's not a game for me. I would say I'm not a big fan of like the.
Mhm.
It's not even necessarily post-apocalyptic. It's more just like spacey shooters, lots of dialogue, blah blah blah. Like I just that what I was saying yesterday is that looks like a game for you, 100%. And there is a lot in that game from what I see. So
As soon as someone I think, it's been recommended to me quite a few times, but as soon as someone and I don't know if it was you, like, I think you did as well,
yeah,
but, described it to me as Fallout New Vegas in space. I'm into that. I'm very much totally
basically.
100% down with that. But I was under the impression that it was more open world. Is it more open world or more linear?
Um, I've only seen 5 hours of it, which seems to it's not really kind of a bit of both. I would say like, oh, here you're in a big space station. Sure, you can explore it, but there are things that you need to do. To
Mhm,
where like, there's a lot of shit that you can interact with, but at the end
mhm.
of the day, you do have to get stuff done. I don't know if that's necessarily like after that 5 hours you kind of get to go around. There's a ton of systems to go to from what I've seen on the map. So, and 5 hours was like barely part of one of them. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I have no idea. I really can't say. I don't. Yeah.
Okay. So
Again, no, it looked good.
it's probably a little bit, yeah. My thing is playing it live. I When it comes to open worlds, I mean, you guys saw that with oh, what was it? I'm blanking on the name. It was the one with the aliens on the space Prey. There we go.
Oh,
Um, I get very into side quests. I love side quests. But in those open world games, I will very quickly overwhelm myself with side quests and then I get bored or I get fried and burnt out because I'm like, "Oh my god, I keep going back over there and over and over again." And I that's one reason why I've never finished Skyrim. I have over 600, 800 hours into Skyrim. My husband has a Vendi husband unit has over 2,000 hours in the two different versions of
hell
it.
yeah.
And I can't do that. He's never finished the game. Like, he's never actually gotten to the end of it because he does the side quest, he explores, he just runs around and, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know. I just think it's
I'm not sure if it's
I
I
don't
don't,
do it.
from what I've seen, I don't think it's as open world as Skyrim or um like there's like a skill tree thing which is pretty cool. Not exactly like Skyrim, but it's like like hacking, sneaking. It has a couple of really interesting mechanics that I haven't seen in any other games before, which is pretty neat.
Really?
I'm not going to spoil
Like
any
what?
Well, okay.
Oh,
Well, okay. So
tell
like,
me.
there was this time where in this little area or the time that I've seen, there was like this disguise mechanic, and again, I haven't seen it in any game, but it could be in a game. I don't know. There's a lot of games out there where like it was like, oh, as like a little tutorial, it's like pick this up and then this is how this works. But it's like you can enter restricted areas, and you and your
Mhm.
team will be disguised as whoever in that area, and you have this bar that just slowly drains, and it's like you have that much time to explore that little area and then like
Oh.
run out of the room again real quick. So it kind of puts you in a little bit of a panic because you have to go explore real quick before you're seen, kind of thing. And it's like, oh, if you get caught in here, it's kind of like
Mhm.
shoot on sight kind of area. And then you meet outlaws who talk a lot of shit, and there's a lot of persuading, a lot of intimidating. Little skills, and teammates from what I've seen are specialized in certain things. And from what I hear, I haven't seen this, but
Mhm.
from what I hear is that if they die on the field, they die for good. And like
What? No.
people are actually affected in the storyline later from that, which is super fucking cool.
Oh,
Which is
that
super
would
cool.
kill me.
It is
That would
so
kill
cool.
me.
Like that would suck to lose your team, but like from what again, I haven't seen this, but from what I'm hearing is like this person's like, hey, can I join you? I need to go to the system or whatever. And you're like, okay, cool. But if they die beforehand and you get to that person and then you have to explain to them that they
Oh.
died in your care, or you can lie to them. I've seen a little bit of like lie options, and I don't know. It's very cool though. Like, I mean, there's so much dialogue in that game that in just the 5 hours that I've seen, it's incredible. It's so good.
Oh, that would kill me. Like, I hate it when my characters die. Like, my first Mass Effect game, I made damn sure that everyone survived through that last bit. Like, I went and I cleaned out all of the side quests to make them, to build up their loyalty and all of this stuff, and I did not lose a single fucking person on my very first playthrough, and I was so proud of myself because fuck if I was gonna lose anybody, you know? And I did it on the second one because then I knew what to expect and blah blah blah, and I did it on the third one because I knew how it worked and things like that. And then the third one kinda we're not gonna talk about that, but anyway, but it was very cool, to be able to do that, but you didn't have that panic of they could die in a plain old mission. It got to the point at the first game I didn't know what would happen. So I would have them like stand behind me and I'd constantly be using the little command thing, get behind me, come to me while I killed everything. And then one of them
Just stay
died in the
back in the
mission.
ship. What is it? Just stay back in the ship option.
Well, then one of them died during a mission and I almost freaked out, but then they got back up and I was like, "Oh, okay." Oh, that I could do that. Yeah, all right. This is a lot easier now. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Goddamn.
that reminds me of Elder Scrolls Morrowind, where literally everybody in that game could die, and if you killed somebody that was like a quest giver, then you just couldn't complete
Mm.
that quest ever again. Oh
Oof.
god, that's so fun. Yeah, I don't know. The more I talk about it, the more I want to get it. It is $60, but
Oof.
it
Apparently you can
legitimately.
get it for like $1
Oh yeah,
through
on Game Pass, Xbox.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, I was watching. I don't think you know him, but people on the podcast might. Ray, he used to be on Achievement Hunter. He goes by Brown Man on Twitch. I was
Oh,
watching
I
him
know
play
that.
it. Yeah, I love watching Ray. It kind of cracked me up. So the only gameplay that I'll really get into is there was he found a shrink ray. I was like, okay, cool, and like, you know, it has like DPS and you know, there's some guns that do different effects. This and oh, I just spilled my pop on my desk.
Oh, now I know you're from the Midwest.
Shit, my cover's blown. Soda, bacon soda. So anyway, he had a shrink ray, and I guess one of his followers or teammates has this special attack where she like uses this giant hammer, and like as soon as she hits the ground with it, like electricity goes everywhere.
So that's kind of cool.
They yeah, I guess they have like weird finishers, and like sometimes the game slows down, kind of like VATS in a way. Is that what that's called?
Okay. Yeah. And
I've seen that. It's not like where the game pauses and you get to like select, but it's more like I've seen it slow down and the bullets go quicker. So it's like
it's the general term is bullet time, but yeah.
Right.
No,
yeah.
I've
So like
over my soda bottle.
So the bullet time in this game is more like it slows down and you can still aim. It's not like here, pick your thing and then have the your character shoot it. So anyway, there's that too. But he encountered these outlaws on this station, and they're like, hey, there's only room for one captain here, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're not looking for any trouble, but if you fuck with us, we're going to fucking kill you. And like, sometimes they use language too, and I was like, God, wow, holy shit. So, you know, in the typical fashion, you save before you talk to them.
Oh, and,
so you
save scumming! Save scumming!
And so it was funny because the first time the guy pulled out this giant Gatling gun and killed him, and he was like, okay. So he reloaded, went through the dialogue. He shrank the guy down to like a third of the size of a human. And then as he did that, the follower went around and crushed him with this hammer, like finishing blow. And it was like, oh my God. It was so cool. It just, I didn't expect, because he was like, well, I don't know what the shrink ray does. Like, you know, because some guns and games are just labeled like, you know, whatever, or, you know, black hole creator, but it just creates black holes with bullets. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, like he shrank the
person. It just blows hole in the guy.
But yeah, he shrank the guy, and he looked like a little doll running around with his little gun. I was like, what the fuck is this? It's so awesome.
The only way that would have been better is if it shrank him and he was running around naked in a pile of his clothes, like trying to climb out.
That'd be silly.
It would be awesome. Let's be honest. So Halloween is hard left turn. Halloween is in like 3 days, 4 days. I don't have a costume yet. I have not been able to find.
You know what my costume is?
A green jumpsuit. Yeah, I know you got yours already figured out.
I'm gonna be a mailman again for the second year in a row.
Oh, you're crazy. Well, I can't do Ellen Ripley because I cannot find a Nomex flight suit for under $180 to $100. So I started looking around at other options, and somebody said, "Why don't you just go as Nancy Drew?"
Oh, there you go.
Wait, what? Oh my God, I could do that. And so I've been looking around for like vintage dresses and things like that, and updated vintage and holy shit, there's an entire world of this shit.
oh yeah. Tiffany will tell you all about it.
And I was thinking about that too, is like, I should just talk to Tiffany because she could like aim me at, okay, go to this store. Do you have this store in your area? Yeah. Go there and go find this sort of outfit. And, it's too hot to go for like a long sleeve turtleneck or whatever, but.
I'm sorry, did you say it was too hot to go? What is your... Hold on.
What?
Keep talking. Keep talking.
No, I'm talking about like a turtleneck, in Texas.
Hold on.
That'd kill me, dude.
31 is on... Oh, it's going to be 54 over there, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
It's going to be
I'm gonna have like
39 over here. It's going to snow over here.
I'm going to have a sweater tied around my neck and,
Holy shit. You guys are like living in the past right now. You guys are about to dip into the 60s. Man, we've been like 60s for like a month now. It's been nice over here. It's been kind of cold.
It's been really nice lately. It's been actually too cold to sleep with my summer blanket because Evendi likes to pop the window open.
Oh,
and then I have to wedge the little security bar in there so nobody can like pop it open even further, because that's how I am. So I actually, last year, I ended up cutting 2 different brace bars, one for when it's closed and one for when he decides that he needs to open it at night. And so I've got those and I pop that in. And I didn't think to switch out my blanket, so I had such shitty sleep last night because I was too cold, but I was too, like, dazed and blah to get up and, like, swap it out, or to go get my other blanket. It sucked. Anyway,
No,
enough
no,
of
you're
me bitching.
God. You complained on the podcast for a whole 30 seconds about your blanket. I'm leaving.
I
This
know.
is some
Oh, no,
bullshit.
don't do it. No. No.
It was so funny because
I
earlier you were like, "Oh, I'm talking too much," and I looked at the time and I was like, "She's only been talking for 4 minutes." Like,
Okay,
what?
in that case, can I tell another work story real quick that I
I don't.
wanted to tell earlier?
I don't care. So,
Like,
okay, hold on. We were gonna go
sure.
for 30 minutes. We're at the
Mhm.
50-minute mark right now.
Okay. Well, let this be like the last story that I tell for the
Okay.
podcast.
Okay.
So, going back to the whole faith in humanity thing, and just as a disclaimer, I'm really not trying to like toot my own horn or anything. I'm not trying to
No,
be like,
feel
"Oh, look
free.
at me, I'm amazing."
Yeah, I do it all
But
the time. Self confidence.
so
Build it. Let's go.
this kid comes in and he's like 9 years old. He's got chocolate smeared on the corners of his mouth, and
Ah,
this
typical
older
child.
woman's with him. This older woman's with him, and I find out through conversation that she's his aunt. Okay. Well, they're looking for books and they can't find them. And I'm thinking, okay, it's probably going to be like Dave Pilkey, Captain Underpants or something like that. And this
Way to
kid
judge
says,
people. Holy shit.
well, no, I fucking ate humble pie after this because they're looking for White Fang by Jack London, Guts by Telgemeier, which is a more recent release, and Where the Red Fern Grows. And I thought,
Nice.
is this for a school assignment? And he's like, no, I just read these for fun. And I got like so excited. I thought, and I'm showing him where the books are, and we start, and his aunt had to go to the bathroom. So this kid and I are just sitting there talking, and we're talking about like Island of the Blue Dolphin and Holes and Hatchet and all of these other like classic books that are like, good like literature, like kids literature. And I am asked him, I'm like, have you ever read My Side of the Mountain? And he's like, "No, what's that about?" And I started telling him about it. His eyes got big. He's like, "Yeah, can I see it? Can I see it?" Well, yeah, of course. So I go and I grab him a copy and I hand it to him and he's looking through it and his aunt comes back up and they're like, "Okay, well, we got to check out cuz we got to go and we got to get coffee before we leave." And she's looking at this stack of books that they've collected and she's picked up a couple as well. So she's looking through them and she's like, "Well, we're gonna have to get these 2 later." And the kid's face just fell, and I realized that the 2 that she had set aside, one of them was My Side of the Mountain. And she said, we'll just take pictures of the covers and then we'll come back. We'll come back for them later." And I thought, "There's no way. Like, this kid needs this book. He is so fucking excited." I said, "You know what? Let me take care of this for you. Give me 1 sec." So I ran up to the front of the store. I had Shaughnessy check me out. I wrapped it and I put a little gold sticker on it, like the happy birthday sticker or whatever. And I ran it back to him and I handed it and I said, "Here, happy birthday. Now you don't have to wait." And the aunt looks at me like, "You didn't have to do that." And I was like, "Yeah," with the look on his face, like, "Yeah, I did. He needs that book." And she said, "Well, it's his birthday in 2 days." And I was like, "Wow, that's fucking timing."
Jesus.
And
That's so
this
cool.
kid unwraps it in the middle of the store, because I don't think he was sure what I was giving him.
I just wrapped
And
that,
he
you little
looks
shit.
Yeah. Well, no, it was
No.
perfect because he kept the wrapping. He, like, kept it in the wrapping. And I said, "Did you want me to throw that away?" He's like, "No, no, no, I'm gonna keep it." And just the look on his face with the chocolate smeared in the corners at the corners of his mouth and just the absolute glee that he had. And I gave the receipt to the aunt just in case. I was like, if somebody else bought it for him already, you can always return it. It's no big deal. And just the happiness in this kid's face, that's like the main moment that during the holiday season that I'm going to try to remember because those are the people that I work for. Those are the people that I go to work and look for. Those kinds of people that they get a new book and they're just in wonder of it. They're just excited about it or it's like I got to go home and start reading this right now or I sell them a book that I'm excited about and I see them later in the cafe, reading it, with a coffee or whatever, and then I'll come back like an hour or 2 later and they're still there and they've got like a second cup of coffee or something and they're like ass deep in this book. It was like that's what I look for because that makes me happy. And for all of you out there who work retail over the holiday season and maybe don't have those opportunities to like make somebody's day perfect and get that boost of happiness from seeing someone else that's just, "Oh my god, you made my day or week or life or whatever." I don't know, maybe whatever it works. It just hold on to that moment. Like I want to share that moment with you and let you know that there are people out there that will brighten up your day just simply by being in that moment of wonder. And I hope that gets you guys through your holiday season.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I,
Sorry, that was impromptu,
no,
but there you go.
no, that was great. I think that's a good point to wrap up on, actually. I
Yeah, I
think
killed the podcast. No,
I
I'm kidding.
think I'm gonna cry. No, that was honestly, it was just a genuine moment. I had something after, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm just gonna kill the mood with mine. Fuck that.
We'll save it for the next one. We'll save it for the next one
Yeah,
when we
if
get
I
back.
remember in 3 months. Yeah, I'm gonna listen back.
I,
I'm gonna keep a note. I'm gonna tell the story in 3 months.
do it.
I'm not going
Fucking
to.
do
I'm
it.
not going to. It's nothing important. Now you're talking about giving, and we went to Eliza's conferences the other day, and they have like a little book fair every time we have conferences, and Eliza always loves to get books during that
Mhm.
time. And I'm not going to deny my child any books ever. If you know, like I like to supply my child with whatever that she really wants because she likes a lot of odd stuff compared to regular kids. You know,
Mhm.
not a lot of kids in her school are like into anime and you know, like she's learning how to like edit photos now by herself. It's amazing.
Oh,
It's
that's
I
cool.
know. She's like, Dad, look what I made. I made a background for myself, and I'm like, holy crap. I was like, how did you? And I asked her, I was like, how did you do that? Oh, I just, you right click and you go to edit in Photos 3D or whatever, and you do this. I was like, did you figure that all by
Holy
yourself?
shit.
And she's like, yeah, I just play with it. Oh my god, that is awesome. And
That's
anyway,
amazing.
anyway, so we're at the conferences or whatever, and the teacher. The one thing I love to do is I love to help out the school, especially her class, in any way we can. And I'm not saying we have a lot of disposable income, but we have enough to say like, you know what, let's just do this for somebody. Or
Mhm.
um, so the teacher had a whole list of like items to get for their Halloween party, and it was pretty empty. So like we go through the conferences, it takes like 20, 30 minutes or whatever. And as
Mhm.
the teacher and Tiffany are talking, I write our names down on every single piece of items.
Oh
Like
no.
we'll get the juice, we'll get the candy, we'll get the fruits, we'll get the these other snacks. And I was like, she didn't see me do it, and I was like, here you go. And she's like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, we're gonna buy everything. She's like, oh my god. I was like,
Oh.
hell yeah. And then we went to go buy books, and they have this table set off to the side, and they were like, we're like, oh, what are these? And they're like, oh, well, these are the teachers' books. These are the books that the teachers picked out that they want for their class. If you would like to buy them for them, and we're like, okay, well, and there's like stacks of three. Basically, teachers just picked out
Mhm.
3 books, and we're like, they're
Mhm.
like, you want to buy one or two of them? And Tiffany's like, we'll buy all of them. Fuck it. So we bought 3 books and we bought 2 books for Eliza and like a bookmark and like a pen, and then we got the 3 books for the teacher, and we walked back into the conference room. And like she was in the middle of another conference, so I just snuck over. I was like, "Hey, sorry to interrupt. Here you go. You're welcome." And I just left. And she's like, "Oh my god!" Like, so yeah,
See,
it's
that's what disposable income, like that's how you turn disposable income into happiness, you know?
right.
Like you don't have to overextend yourself, but if you've got the money and you've got a need that you see, why not? Fucking do it. Like make somebody's day and that just that makes me happy.
That's one thing that really I don't want to run off on a tangent,
Mhm.
but it just confuses me that people who are usually the most generous usually have the least amount because they understand.
Mhm.
And that's kind of where I come from. Now that I like, because Tiffany and I, we started from the very bottom,
Yeah.
and we're getting super comfortable. And if I can help someone out a little bit at a time, then cool. You know.
Hey, I've already got a whole list of shit that I'm going to do when I win the lottery. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, I think yeah. Oh, me too. If I ever play, which is I
Yeah,
don't
I'd
want
have
to do
to
that.
play. Yeah. Mm.
You know what, Gilf? I've already won the lottery with all the friends I've made. Is that cheesy
And
enough for you?
Tiffany and the
Oh,
kids
right, and
and
my
yeah.
wife and my cats and my rats and my home and yeah. Oh shite! Yikes! Oh yeah, I haven't posted a picture of him on Twitter yet, but I did show a picture to you. We adopted another cat, and fucking a, we have 4 cats now. But we so we were gonna go out to go. Tiffany had to go to immediate care for just nothing super serious stuff we definitely
Mhm.
already knew about. We had to take care of, and then we went to Michael's since that's down the street. Looked at all the cool
Yep.
Halloween and crafting stuff. Really cool. I've gotten a lot of ideas for that. And then there was the Humane Society, which is on the way back. And I was like,
Yep.
Tiffany, I have a feeling, and I think we need to go to the Humane Society. And so we go in there, we look at all the
Oh.
dogs. There's a lot of dogs that look like the ones that have attacked me on the route. Not too happy about, but it's fine. I get it. They're in a bad
One
situation.
of them probably is.
Fucking probably. And yeah, so we go to the cats, and there's a lot of kittens, and they're like, oh, these guys are so cute. And they have little areas that you can, they're called cat cities. And you go in, and
Mhm.
there's like 4 cats. And you get to play with them.
Yep.
You just,
And there's like climbing
yeah.
climbing stuff. Yeah, I've seen those.
And so we went into one, and there was a bunch of they're all kittens, but there was this one cat who was really big, big old orange tabby, and his name was Asparagus. What kind of fucking name is Asparagus for a fucking cat? Sorry, I about throat punched the lady that was like, "Oh, you're gonna change his name? I love Asparagus." I'm like, I even was like, "Yeah, it'll go great with our other cats, Broccoli and Celery," and she's like, is that your real cat's names? And I was like, no. She's like, oh, I thought you actually meant that. I was like, no, Asparagus is a silly name for a cat. And so anyway, this guy is 5 years old, which is 2 years older than our oldest one, Toki. And I
Mhm.
was like, well, how long has he been in here? He's like, well, oh, he's been in here for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. And I was like, man, with all these kittens around, like 6 months to maybe a year, I was like, no
Yeah.
one's gonna take this poor guy. And it's not that
Yeah.
I pity adopted him. As soon as I walked up to him, he was immediately lovey. Like he was just like, oh, pet me. Oh, thank God. Like he was immediately comfortable, and that showed me a
Oh.
lot. And I was like, and so Tiffany went with the lady to go like do the paperwork, and I just sat in the cat city with him the whole time. It was like 10 minutes it seemed. I just petting him, and he jumped up on my lap, and he's huge. He's much bigger than Toki, and I thought Toki was already pretty big. Um, but yeah, we named him Anduin. Very fitting with our
Oh.
Sylvanas the rat. Now we have Anduin. He's our young
And
lion.
Anduin's gonna win, obviously.
He's our young lion, and
Oh.
yeah, he's adorable. Toki and Sophia are real skittish with new cats. With like Deku, our little kitten. Deku, he
Mhm.
doesn't care. He's like, oh, another cat I can play with. Hell yeah, because he has a kitten mentality, and everybody's kind of hissing at each other the first day. Not that they're attacking or territorial. It's just they're hissing because they're scared and they don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is like what our third day, I think, with him in the household, and everybody's becoming like this is the quickest I've ever seen any of the cats adapt. Especially Anduin, he just walks around the house. He's just like, hey, this is a cool place. He's a real lounge cat. He's not real playful. He just likes to bask in the sun, and he likes
Yeah.
he's a really chill cat. So, and I figured he would get along really well with the rest of our chill cats, except for Deku. He's a little
Yeah.
asshole, but he's a kitten. It's fine. But yeah, it's cool. I told Tiffany, and this sounds silly, but I'm just gonna repeat it because that's just what it is. But every time I've gone to the Humane Society or wanted to go to the Humane Society, I felt like
Mhm.
there was a reason behind it. Like
Yeah.
like with our first cat was Toki, and I was like, you know what? I think we need a cat, and I feel like we should go right now. And we got Toki, and then same thing with Sophia. I was like, I feel like we need to go like we need to go get a cat like right now. And then they got Deku without me because it was like a little present. And then when we
Oh.
drove, the thing is we drive past that place all the time, and I think nothing about it. But the time that we drove by there, I was like, something tells me I need to go to the Humane Society like right now. And
Mhm.
so, and then there it was. I was like, because there's a lot of times where you see a lot of cats, but none of them seem the right fit. And he was the last one we saw. And I was like, as soon as it was like love at first sight or whatever stupid bullshit you want to say, but it was like
That's
I
not
am.
stupid.
I
I love
immediately was like, yes, you need to come home with me. Like you just know.
Mhm.
I just love cats. I was walking around the Tiffany because it's funny. Every time I walk around my house or do anything in my house, every single cat follows me around. And then
Oh my god.
same thing in the cat cities. They always gather to me, and I always just walk around and go, "I'm the cat lord. I am the cat
That's
lord."
perfect. I desperately want cats, but we
just
just
kind of,
haven't made the jump.
just come over every now and then. You can play with all four of mine, and then we can play with the rats, and then we want to get some birds, and maybe even a ferret. We're gonna have like a fucking zoo here soon.
Nothing wrong with that. I
And
used to have a
then,
rat. Her name was Ophelia. She was a lab rescue.
oh
So
wow,
she was a she was a white rat,
when you
lab
say lab,
rescue.
I think of like. They're like, yeah, this one's a lab rescue, and it has like a small wig and makeup on.
It's in the ratness protection program. Uh, but yeah, so she died, but
Oh,
she died well. Well,
oh,
no, I mean, I had her back in undergrad. This is like
oh.
fucking
Well,
15
yeah.
years
I mean,
ago.
everything dies. It's just,
But my mom would let me keep her in the house. So one of my friends had a barn. So I would stop there on my way home from work every day. And if I wasn't working that day, I would
like
drive up to go see her.
like loose in the barn.
No, no, no. She was in her cage,
Oh,
but
I
she had
was
a
like,
big
I'm
cage.
pretty sure that thing got eaten by like an owl or something.
No, no, no. What ended up happening is there were like she had like animals around there to interact with, but they couldn't get into the cage or whatnot.
Right.
Because there were a couple of farm cats and there was a farm dog, and we kept her in the barn, kind of farther up, so nothing could get to her. Well, I went in one day and the cat was just sitting there and they were just kind of looking at each other, and the cat like pawed at the cage, and Ophelia kind of sniffed them, and apparently, according to the farmer, um the cat was getting kind of aggressive and Ophelia bit him, never did it again. Like they were best of friends after that. And just one day, it was getting like, what was it? It was like mid-September. So no, it was early September. So it was starting to get kind of cold. So I was gonna, go get her and bring her home. Fuck it if mom doesn't think it's okay. And she had already passed away. She had died in her sleep. And the farmer said that she had been acting really slow lately. So it was basically, I didn't know how old she was when I got her, but she was full size. Like she had lived for quite a while.
Right.
So she was just old. She had the physical signs where you look at her and like the fur is different and blah, blah. But yeah, no, she was a good rat and she had a good life, and her cat buddy would constantly like climb up on the shelves or whatever where we had her cage and just sit there wondering where her buddy had gone. Made me sad.
Speaking of cats, happy Black Cat Day.
Hey, happy Black Cat Day. Is it Black Cat Day?
It is. It was either
Cool.
today or yesterday. I don't know. I just saw something on Twitter about it. Anyway, we should probably go ahead and wrap up. It's an hour
All
7,
right.
surprisingly. Go team. I had a lot of fun. I had some other stuff, I think, but I was like, nah, I'll just whatever.
We'll get to it.
Yeah, it's
We'll
fine.
always
It's not a
get
big
to it.
deal. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and Plex. Also, I tried the Bitly link for Required Podcast earlier, and it was dead.
Mhm. God damn it.
I don't know what happened with that, because I was testing it out on a new series that I have, a speed drawing, and it didn't work.
Well,
I
it
was like,
just worked.
uh-oh.
It just worked for me.
What
so.
the fuck? I just tried it like a couple hours ago. Anyway, it's fine. I just used the regular like open.spotify link.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're on. I'm pretty sure you could just search us up at any point. The Required Podcast, YouTube.com/concerequired. Even though we're going on hiatus, and I totally forgot about that until now, which is really upsetting because this will be the last time you hear us for about 3 months, or rather, us in this form. I am actually working on a lot of solo series stuff, and I'm going to be posting a new speed drawing every day. Got some stuff in Minecraft rolling. Hopefully, yeah, I just some basic stuff, kind of keep me preoccupied, and I'm going to be so lonely in the holidays. It's fine.
Did we thank the patrons, or can I do that?
I haven't gotten there yet, but you can.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me know when it's my turn.
Elf, it is now your turn.
Yay! We just want to step out and thank the patrons, TJ and Risu. Hopefully we'll be able to see them both at PAX South this year. I know Reese's going to be there because I'm rooming with her, but we really appreciate the
Oh,
support
you've
you
got
guys
it
have
in with the
given us.
patrons. I see what's going
Oh,
on
I
here.
totally do. Hey, somebody's got to schmooze them, all right? But no, thank you guys so much for your support. It really helps us kind of keep going because you guys it's more the moral support that you guys give on top of being patrons is fantastic and we love you for it.
The fact that people want to support us, like I was gonna say me, because me and you, both of us, because again, I'm gonna do some solo stuff here soon.
Mm.
I don't want people to feel obligated to keep their patron, considering we're going on. We started this patron with the required podcast, so I'm assuming at some point people will be like, you know what, maybe your support is not right. Like all Brand's doing his own thing. Um, yeah, feel free to like pause if you like. I don't want to force people to keep up their patron stuff just because like,
Mhm.
oh, I've known them for a while, blah blah, or their buddies and this and that. It's totally cool. I get it. Holidays are coming up, but I really appreciate the support, like the views, the likes, I mean, fucking a, we've gotten so many views on like YouTube, and I mean, it's not like, we're not rolling in the thousands, but
Mhm.
adding it up, I think we've peaked over a couple hundred, which is pretty fucking cool. So,
That's great. Yay.
but yeah, hopefully we can. Sorry, I just looked at my average view duration, and it's up plus 999,000% or 999. Woo, great.
Yay.
From like, 0, but it just cracks me up.
But basically we're not going anywhere. We're not the podcast isn't ending. And if we can get together and just chat and bullshit about stuff, I mean, there might be a couple of episodes that come out, in the middle of the hiatus or whatever, just because. And here's the thing is, I don't think that Console and I can go a week without talking. I don't think it's possible, even with the extra stress of, the holidays and stuff like that. So I do want to keep the option open there because I know he and I have been talking about doing the XP grind side show.
I totally forgot
And
about that until
I
just
think
now.
that that would be I think this would be a great opportunity to just like no
Oh,
stress shoot the shit about it. But we do need to end because we're over an hour. So
shut up,
thank you
Brandon.
guys again
Shut
for
up.
thank you thank you guys again for listening to us and sticking with us through this. And yeah, you guys are amazing. Be your own purple.
Yes. Hell yeah. All right. Bye.
Toodles.